Welcome back to sports. I'm here with Junko Aoyama and Benjamin Naughton. The World Baseball Classic is coming to a close this week. Guys, what have been some of the more memorable moments in this year's tournament?
It has to be the Netherlands team. Like, they had this great Cinderella run. Like, sure, they lost to Dominican Republic last night, but who would have picked them to lose just like 1-4? I mean, who would pick them to be the Pool 2 runner-up? No, I'm sorry, Pool 1 runner-ups and upset Cuba and Korea, who've been like the big teams in the tournaments in the past.
I like the pick of the Netherlands. Obviously, they're a big underdog in this tournament. Obviously, a much smaller country and not a preliminary baseball power. But I think it's got to be the Canada-Mexico fight. It drew attention to what is otherwise kind of almost a pseudo event, and maybe it'll kind of draw on the attention for the rest of the tournament and in the years to come. I don't know yet. I mean, obviously, it's still the jury's still out on that one, but it did draw attention to this event. And I mean, who doesn't? Yeah. And it's bad to say, who doesn't like to see a good baseball fight? Every once in a while, let's keep it safe, though.
Yeah, no doubt. Look, nobody thought the Netherlands was going to make it out of that pool.
True.
Great story, but I got to go with you. That Canada-Mexico brawl really showed people that this is way more than just an exhibition-type tournament.
Exactly.
And in years past, it really hasn't escalated to what it did this year. But speaking of years past, the format's a little bit different this year. They have the rounds before the semifinals. They now have one pool that played in Japan and one pool that played in the U.S. What do you guys think of the change in the format?
I'll take this first. I think if it's, look at the title, World Baseball Classic. You've got to go out and you got to go to Japan. You even have to go to countries where baseball is not as well known. If you want to make this a World Baseball Classic and really truly not just the Americas and the Caribbeans and all that, and maybe the Netherlands, you have to go out and get the rest of the world involved in this event. And I think they're starting to do that. They haven't fully gotten that, but I think they're starting to do that.
I like that they had the preliminary rounds in the fall, like starting with the other countries. I didn't know there were teams in like Great Britain, France, Spain, and one of the reasons I like this year's format of having the rounds before the semifinals, one in Japan, one in the U.S., is that especially for the teams in Japan, there's obviously less travel going on, and there were obviously time in between the semis and the before that. So like I'm sure those teams got a lot of rest, and I'm sure like they were less tired going into those games.
Yeah, no, I'm in complete agreement. It's the World Baseball Classic. You got to open it up to the rest of the world, play games in other countries. The United States team, everybody knows David Wright carried that team. They got a lot of publicity, a lot of great publicity. They played so well. What do you think their chances are in the next World Baseball Classic?
Personally, I think one of the biggest issues is just recruiting players into the U.S. team because this is the issues they've been having since the inaugural tournaments. They've done better, but I wish, especially for the pitching side, I wish they brought in people like Verlander or like David Price. Mm-hmm. Like, no knocks on R.A. Dickey or Gio Gonzalez. They're great also, but I would love to see the top-tier players playing the teams.
Absolutely.
I think in the future, I mean, you obviously look, America finally has that great young talent. Obviously, for the past 10 years, it was always the Dominican, Puerto Rico, the Caribbean teams. I mean, now you see guys, Steven Strasburg, Harper, Trout out in L.A., get those guys to play in the game. So the future's bright. It's like you said, whether or not they're going to play in the games, there's got to be a bigger draw for them. But maybe we kind of see that the kind of patriotism starting this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree more. Real quick, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico playing in the finals. Who do you got winning?
I have the Dominican Republic. They've gone undefeated all throughout the tournament. I want to see them be on the top, undefeated. Cano's been hot throughout the tournament, and so has Tejada, Carlos Santana, and a couple other guys. They're going to take it.
I'm taking Puerto Rico. They've played twice already in this tournament. Dominicans won twice. These teams are full of major leaguers. I don't think they lose a third time. It's just like a regular series in the middle of the season. I don't think they lose a third time. I think they get this one win.
Well, it's going to be a great game, a lot of passion between those two countries, and it's going to be fun to watch. Well, that's all the time we have for this edition of One-on-One Sports Webcast. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at One-on-One Sports. Thanks for watching, and as always, whose side are you on?